State Bank of India, starting today, is going to be conducting road shows. They're trying to assess if there's investor demand for a dollar bond issue through which they may look to raise $1 to $2 billion depending on the results of the road show. We had a chance to speak with Hemant Contractor on Sunday. He's the MD and the Group Executive for International Banking at State Bank of India. We started by asking him about the road shows which are starting today.
No, see, what we are starting on Monday is a road show for meeting investors. We have not decided on the issue as yet. That we will take a call on the issue, whether to go in for an issue at all, depending on the state of the market and the conditions and all that. So we have not yet decided on the issue, but we will certainly start meeting investors from Monday onwards next week.
All right, so you haven't decided, sir, on the actual size of the issue, or even that you're going ahead with it. You're just sort of testing the waters right now?
Yeah, depending on the state of the market, if we feel that the conditions are favorable, we'll be going in for a benchmark sized issue, a minimum benchmark size issue. Yeah.
When you say benchmark size issue, I think people have talked about $1 to $2 billion, sir. Is that the range?
Yeah, that would be roughly the range.
Okay, so $1 to $2 billion is what they'd be looking at, depending on the response from the road shows. So just talk to us a little bit about the timing of this. Earlier there was talk that ICICI may go to the dollar bond markets. There were some PSU banks which are considering it, but everybody sort of put it on hold because of the conditions globally and also the perception of India. So why now for you, sir?
Well, we've been waiting for a long time because, we had plans to tap the market for the last 4 or 5 months, but clearly the conditions were not very favorable. And now we feel that there is some improvement taking place in the market, and that's why we positioned this roadshow such that we would be able to come to the market and meet the investors at a time when conditions were more favorable than in the recent past. And we do see the conditions improving, and that's the reason why we have timed the roadshow for next week.
So one of the issues, anything related to a foreign bond issuance is the currency factor. Is it your judgment that some of those issues are more or less behind us, at least for now, and that the conditions are improving, and hence at this point in time investors may want to look at coming into something like a dollar bond issue issued by the State Bank of India?
No, I think overall probably some of the concerns relating to India have probably played out to our mind, and there is some signs that probably the outlook on India is probably changing for the better. That and the fact that the oil prices also have come down a little bit, and which would improve the current account deficit position and help to maybe ensure that further depreciation of the rupee doesn't take place, and that the rupee improves. So all these factors. And the fact that there have not been too many Indian investors approaching the market, and clearly there does seem to be some appetite for Indian paper building up. So all these factors contributed to our decision to find out whether we could tap the market now.
All right. So just, recently there was the RBI had increased the FI debt limit in government bonds, and SEBI went and auctioned the limits for those. And the response at that particular auction was fairly tepid. Would you take that as an indicator of demand for something like an SBI dollar bond issue, or are they completely separate instruments? So it's difficult to use that benchmark?
Not really, because as you say, that's a different class of investments. And clearly the investors that we have in mind are a different set of people, who essentially look at the long-term story of the country and of the bank, and so they are a different class of investors, and their investment decisions would be guided by a different set of factors. So.
Just a note on the cost of funds, the cost of raising funds abroad. Is it significantly more attractive for you to go in for, say, a dollar bond issue from a costing perspective as well, from a pricing perspective?
Yeah, it's significant because we use it to fund assets abroad. So that's why it's clearly attractive for us. But if you were to bring those dollars and use it for funding Indian operations, probably they would not be that attractive. But we are largely going to use it for funding our overseas assets, and That's what would make it quite attractive for us.
So there are no implications, sir, for any of your capital ratios, your tier 2 ratios, right?
No, it won't change the tier 2 ratio here. This will not change. This will be a borrowing. It will be a market borrowing. It will be 144A issue,
Okay. So would you be able to talk at all about the capital position right now in terms of ratios, sir, capital ratios?
Well, I wouldn't be able to talk about that right now, because this exercise that we are attempting to do now is not clearly aimed at bolstering the bank's capital. It's more to do with meeting our business funding needs. There's really no strain on the capital as such. The reason why we are thinking of tapping the overseas market is that we have some visibility of assets, and it's to fund these assets that we are basically looking at raising these funds. So there's not really a capital angle here.
Got that, sir. Just as a last question, so when do these road shows complete? By when will we get to know whether you're going ahead with the issue, the size of the issue, etc.?
Well, the road show is planned for next week, so it will be about 5 days we'll be on the road, and then we'll take a call on whether to launch the issue or not.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for Retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.